What up, people? It's your boy Massachusetts out here with another comic review. So we have Tales from the Dark Multiverse, The Death of Superman. And so after doing some research, I realized that these Tales from the Dark Multiverse are retellings or rehashes of if things went differently in major events in the DC universe. So I'm seeing one for the Blackest Night. So I'm interested to see what happens with how dark the Black Lantern Corps will get in that one. We also got one from the Judas Contract. I'm interested to see what would happen with that regard. But here we start with the death of Superman, where in this case, Clark, was dead. He never came back, and Lois was more distraught over his death than she was previously. Now, I've read the original trade paperback, of course, when I was a kid, and I was really engrossed with it. From Guy Gardner being a Yellow Lantern to all the watching of the Doomsday just take out members of the Justice League. I thought it was like fantastic. And then of course I watched the Reign of Superman and the Return of Superman. And of course I just recently watched the Death of Superman retelling on the animated movies and the Reign of Superman. But let's get into it. So the script is by Jeff Loveness, and Brad Walker's on the arts, and I thought his art was very reminiscent of the old comic back then. So we get reintroduced to Tempest Fuginaut, and I like what they're doing. I mean, obviously, I wasn't a fan of. I mean, some books from the New Age of Heroes were or they were very good, and I thought that the Sideways character books were very good, as well as Silencer and Curse of Brimstone was a little soft spot for me. Damage. The others were kind of hit or miss with me, but it's good to see that they're involving Tempest Fuginaut, very much like a Watcher character. That he basically goes and he watches stands watch between the realities. He's been doing so since he was born, and he's beginning to have doubts. He knows the light, he knows the multiverse, but he's feeling less warmth and light, and he's like saying, "Why is there darkness?" And then, of course, we remember that it feeds on our worlds of bricks, our stories, and we can see that the Punisher Batman and the Batman Who Laughs are continuing to poison that, still doing what they do. Um, and we see that it's shaking his faith. Each world grows darker, and then new stories and stories that we know are not safe, even the greatest story. And so we see that one of the greatest stories, of course, was when Superman fought Doomsday. He faced his final battle and he fell. And this time, he didn't wake up. Well, of course, he died. It was when Superman died, basically. And we see that she doesn't take it well. It's like, but that's not his story. This is about Lois, and she can see that she has vengeance in her eyes. And we see Hawk. We just see Hawk and Dove. We see everybody come in. All the Justice League comes in, and they see that he shouldn't make it, and she doesn't take it well. She said that you all failed him. And it's like, he needs you. You failed him. You let him die alone. Where were you? Where were any of you? And she just keeps mourning. And she's like, I don't hear their excuses. I won't listen to these hypocrites ever again. All I can hear is my own voice trailing away. So, of course, we go back to the main funeral procession from the old book. Maybe it's slightly different because I haven't read it in a while, but I don't remember Hal Jordan being there. But this is obviously after his Parallax days. But we see that as they hold his funeral, it's raining, and she doesn't take it. She can barely catch a glimpse while everybody's focused there. I see the gold statue. I listen to empty speeches by men like Luthor, and of course Luthor gave a speech. And I really like how they went back to the old school '90s Luthor when he had like a lot of hair and that full beard. It's very good to tell. So we all know that Lex mourned Superman simply because he wasn't the one who was able to kill him. So of course he gives a tribute. And in the old one, we know that Batman kind of strung up some of these vendors who were kind of cashing on his name. And we see all of his friends. I think this is on Bibbo right here. It's like, if this is our tribute, maybe we never even knew you. But still, maybe this would mean something. I could see the look in people's eyes. We were different now. Maybe your sacrifice would be worth it. Maybe we'd be better. It's like, but a few weeks went by, and the world pretty much went back to went back to hell, basically. See Kahndaq, Markovia nuclear standoff, crime wave, refugees, Lex Oils cleared of all wrongdoing, Lex Core reaches stocks high, huge victory for the gun. Okay, well, obviously, but These are things that she doesn't get. But world is not going the way that she'd like it. And she looks at the sheriff, Clark. It's like you were never there at all. You loved us. You loved us so much. I tell myself that I'm going to fight on and carry on. But, she's given up hope. I think this was so bad because we get to the fact that Martha and Clark, Martha and Jonathan are on hard times. She sees them growing up. Well, she sees them, sorry, not growing up. She pays them a visit once in a while. Now she apologizes, and seeing them where you grew up, it hits me again. A story I can never write. How the greatest idea in the history of the world came when, his whole origin, when they picked him up from the baby tub, and they couldn't even go to your funeral, and your poor mom. And then she says, like, they're saying that Jonathan's heart, he may never wake up. And I remember he was in a coma in the old book. He took it so hard, blamed himself for telling Clark it was his idea. And now she's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't, Lois. I just don't have anyone to talk to. My boys are gone. My boys are gone. So, she keeps telling me to keep the ring. I stay for as long as I can. You'd want me to. It's your home. And then I help you say goodbye to your other home. So she manages to find the Fortress of Solitude, still has the cape, remembers everything, and she's mourning. It's like we never deserved your parents' hope. She just feels like the whole world sucks now, pretty much, because Superman's gone. But then we see the Eradicator, which is this red being, which is, interesting. And he's like, I'm the Eradicator, I'm the protector of Krypton, and I was reborn to defend the last son of the House of El. I took Kal-El's body from his tomb. I placed him in the Kryptonian life matrix to re-energize his cells, but I was too late. He is truly gone. I failed him. And she's like, we both failed him. And he basically feels like the Kryptonian life matrix is burning within him. He cannot hold it in this form, but I cannot in the end like this. There must be a Krypton. There must be a Krypton. And so she gets the idea, use me as your vessel. And he's like, no, your physiology is not compatible. The transfer could kill you. And she's like, I don't care. I know the risks. You have his power, but you the body. And she's like, use me. I loved him. And it's like, you wish to carry on this battle? No, I'm going to end it. And that's the type of wording that the Eradicator obviously likes to hear, because he was the type of person, when he took over Kal-El's name, to brutally punish at best and kill at worst criminals. So she gains the power. And I really like this bloody black Superman. Eyes are red. She has the cape of her lover, and she wears it. And she's like saying, I'll do it, Clark. I'll make the world better. The one that deserved you. So I get to work, and she starts, accomplishing things. I see every start to realize that you could have done so much more. I end wars, I free prisoners, I feed the hungry, I punish those who starve them, I crush their weapons, I make those who make them pay. She's killing, saying I find the corrupt, and those who pay them, I don't hold back. But as I do more and more, I can't help but think, why didn't you? So she started to feel like at the back of her mind, you didn't use these gifts well, and everything like that. It's like you had all this power, and you've seen so many atrocities. How could you ignore it? And everything like that. How did you live the way you did? Were you really that naive? Were you afraid of us? Or were you afraid of truly saving us? So she's like, why didn't you become Injustice Superman? Which I think is kind of an interesting thought that she has in this one-off Elseworld story. And in that moment, I know that I'm not you. And she finds out this is oiled by Lex. So Lex is at his pad, chilling. It's interesting that he's keeping an little eye on the reign of Superman, Superboy here in Steel. And so Lex is like, we all grieve differently. It's like, I know it's you, Lex. I know what you've done. Could you be more specific? I've been so busy now that he's gone. Nuclear standoffs are good for business. You don't buy weapons when you feel safe. I need a LexCorp to finish a strong from the quarter. So a few regional conflicts, maybe a vaccine shortage here and there, would give us a nice little bump. Struck down a few climate regulations, but that was just over brunch. Now I don't know if we need to count that. Let's see what else. I've got this cousin on my leash. I rerouted every dollar of the Tomorrow Foundation to fund the child soldier militias. They took some work, but proud of that one. Oh, and I murdered my secretary on the way home from the funeral, just to let him know I could and I won. I think that's it. But of course you're here. You already know that you can't prove it. None of this will hold up in court. I own more judges than you. So maybe it's time to learn what he did long ago and just go save the cat from a tree. And she's like, nah, bro, I am not, I'm not Clark Kent. I am not Superman. He was Clark Kent. And so he's like, oh my gosh, I found out Superman's identity. But she decides to burn him up in the atmosphere. And she's like, I know I should feel something, but I don't. There's so much left to do. I burn LexCorp, Intergang, the League of Shadows, Cadmus. I don't stop. I go after killers. So she's destroying everything. I burn Ra's al Ghul, Victor Zsasz, Ares, Black Adam, Deathstroke, Parasite. Wow, she's just killing everybody. Finally, the killers are running scared because they know their time is over. Why did we ever allow a world where this was normal? Justice failed. They failed. And now there's only me. And so she kills the Joker. And then Batman is like this, Lois, what have you done? What you never could. And how many have died from it? Lois, there are lines we can't know. You know how sick I am of hearing that? Your way doesn't work. It never has. It's always been the same with you people for years. People are dying and it's just a game to you. And you can't even see how pathetic it is. You're a failure. And then we just see Bruce like saying, what about Clark? Was he a failure? He's dead. And if he's dead, they don't get to live. I won't let him die in vain. He's like, you already have. So Batman's like, you failed, Clark. So she just punches Batman like this. It's like, don't. Do you have any idea how much he held back? And so Batman's like, I ain't going down without a fight. Take this taser. He always pitied you. He'd tell me all the time. I just want him to stop, Lois, but he has nothing else. He's so alone. I just want him to stop. And then Batman's like, I don't stop. And then she's like, no, you don't. And then, of course, we know that she killed Batman. And she's like saying, I see it now, the truth they were all afraid to see. They can't be saved. But she's like, I'm glad you're not here for what I have to do next. And so she pretty much, it's like, I wanted to make the world better than you could, but now she's going after the imposters, as she calls them. Superboy, Steel, nothing more than a clone and a zealot. They don't matter. There's only one I'm after, which is Cyborg Superman, the only one claiming your name. And then he's like saying, the Cyborg. So he's like, what's up, Lois? And Lois is like, you're not him. No, I'm not. I had a whole story ready to go. Well, you're too smart for that, aren't you, Lois? And she's like, take that zipper off. It's like, you first. You don't deserve to wear it. And you do? No, we both got blood on our hands, Miss Lane. I'm just honest about it. And I'm not trying to honor his legacy. I'm trying to burn it down. So it's time to get to fighting. And she's stuck in a little hole right there. But then Steel and Superboy come in. And they try to fight him off, but Cyborg Superman kills Superboy. It's like, I'm more powerful than the real Superman. And then we see he's dead, and then, of course, I remember the first time that Cyborg Superman kind of turned Steel Suit against him. It was that graphic back then, and even though this is off-screen, it's not anything less graphic. So she blasts off Cyborg Superman. They just fight. It's like, we fight, I don't know how long or how many die, but I can't let up. He has to be stopped. Nothing else matters, but then I hear it. Through the chaos in the voice, we see that Superman is back in his black suit, and he wasn't dead. In fact, the tragedy is that the Eradicator placed me in the life matrix. It took longer than expected, but now I'm back. I'm back, and everything's going to be. And she's already like, yeah, I kind of messed up this whole world. And he notices it. It's like, they're afraid of you. It's like, why are they afraid of you? Wow, I honestly don't believe it. How many people get to die twice? So this is a kryptonite cannon, I think. And a kryptonite gas. I won't let you take them away from me. It's like, what's still human in me helps me survive. But I found you once more, and we can see that the look of fear in his eyes. He dies again, and she realizes that I killed you. I'm so sorry the world wasn't good enough for you, Clark. I'll make one that is. But we get back to Tempest Future now, saying Lois Lane believed in truth, but her truth became fueled by vengeance, and vengeance knows no truth, only the dark. Now Lois Lane is the Eradicator, the dark avenging angel of the multiverse. She fights for truth, yet knows she's lost, beyond salvation. I do not know why there is dark, but perhaps it is a lesson. We should look upon those who fall prey to it, not with scorn, but pity. For we could easily be next. Let us cherish the light while we have it. And then, of course, we get into the Blackest Night. Oops. So this was a good issue. It's interesting, and I think that this is a very good strategy DC has found with their Elseworld stories. Deceased was very good. Harleen is very good. Harleen the Joker is another one that I'm reading up right now, which is also pretty nice as well. We can see that these Elseworld stories are doing very good. It'd be nice to introduce this quality into their main lines. And the Flash is still very good. Of course, Red Hood and the Outlaws, Batman and the Outlaws are very great. But there's more work to be done. But I would definitely recommend this. I'd give this a good 9 out of 10. If you're a fan of to see what would have happened if things went wrong in the death of Superman, I'd recommend this. So thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. Once again, I do these reviews for you, the people, because I want to discuss good comics and get your views on them. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to have more videos up when I can. Peace.